Unexpected food contaminants can ruin a great party, a family dinner, and your life. From produce teeming with bacteria to metal fragments in chicken, these Kroger recalls had people thinking twice about their purchases. Hepatitis A is an inflammatory disease of the liver that usually comes from consuming contaminated food or water. Due to its seriousness, any suspicion that a batch of food might be infected should be taken seriously. Thankfully, Kroger reacted promptly in 2019 when some of its very own frozen berries were found to be carrying the virus. After a sampling performed by the FDA, 3 frozen berry products put out by Kroger's private selection brand were found to be contaminated with hepatitis A, triple berry medley in both the 16-ounce and 48-ounce sized bags, along with the 16-ounce frozen blackberries. Kroger reacted quickly, pulling the products in question from store shelves and contacting those who had purchased the berries, advising them to speak with their doctors if they'd already consumed the product. While the recall almost certainly ruined a few smoothie plans, it doesn't appear to have resulted in any sick shoppers thanks to quick action on Kroger's part. A full and complete list of allergens is arguably the most important element a product can feature, as an accidental rendezvous with something like gluten or peanuts can prove dangerous, in some cases even fatal for people with sensitivities. That's why the recent salad bowl recall at Kroger grocery stores had the potential to be so problematic. It involved an undisclosed allergen on a pre-packaged product. The Kroger Apple Walnut with Chicken Salad Bowl Kit is a ready-to-go meal featuring a fresh spring mix, grilled chicken chunks, chopped apples, dried cranberries, walnuts, blue cheese crumbles, and a sweet vinaigrette to top it all off. With nothing but a shake, you've got yourself a quick and healthy lunch, a lunch that appeared to be safe for those with other gluten sensitivities, seeing as there was no wheat listed on the label. Unfortunately, the label was incorrect, and Kroger's salad bowls were yanked from shelves in March 2024 on the basis of this undisclosed wheat allergen. Nearly 20,000 pounds of the product were recalled, but as of this video, the salad bowls appear to be available again with the allergen list updated. The original Moose Tracks ice cream flavor was made famous by the company Denali. The original recipe is a creamy vanilla base with peanut butter cups and chocolate fudge mixed in. Since its inception and incredibly positive reception among consumers, many companies and brands have recreated the iconic flavor. One of these is Kroger, whose multiple different private selection Moose Tracks ice cream variants are staples in its freezer aisle. However, in 2011, 10 states found the freezers of their local Kroger locations suddenly cleared out of their favorite peanut butter and chocolate dessert for a time. The private selection Denali Extreme Moose Tracks ice cream was recalled because it didn't list peanuts on the allergy label. Logically, it makes sense that an ice cream based on peanut butter would have peanuts.
Was it peanut butter?
That's right.
It is!
That's what I think.
Is it a peanut butter cup?
But such an omission could easily prove dangerous for someone who's not already familiar with what Moose Tracks is, for the sake of avoiding a potentially lethal bout of anaphylaxis and the many lawsuits that would produce. This particular recall, though it may have seemed unnecessary for many Moose Tracks lovers, was an important one. Most potato salad recipes call for eggs, which can make it hard for cookout guests with an egg allergy. But if you were shopping at Kroger in April 2024, you might have been excited to come across Simply Sides Jack's Potato Salad. The allergen label listed no eggs, giving the impression that at last you had found a safe side to provide to egg-sensitive guests. Unfortunately, the label on the back of this particular batch of Jack's was incorrect. An accidental swap had occurred between another of the company's products, resulting in Jack's potato salad being incorrectly labeled as egg-free when it wasn't. The affected batches were recalled from the 21 Kroger locations. Like most grocery stores, Kroger sells a number of different meats in its deli, ready sliced and perfect for a quick sandwich. But while lettuce, mayonnaise, mustard, or sliced cheddar make excellent toppings for an easy lunch, Listeria monocytogenes doesn't. In January 2004, Kroger's private selection roast beef was recalled from 20 different states after a sample taken from one of its counters in Atlanta, Georgia, was found to be infected. Listeria can lead to symptoms such as high fever, stiff neck, nausea, diarrhea, and in very young, very old, or immunocompromised individuals, it can even lead to death. The recall notice didn't mention exactly which flavors were affected, but did say that the private selection Angus roast beef and Cajun roast beef variants weren't contaminated. Just as it is in people, vitamin D is a necessary nutrient for our four-legged buddies. In extremely large doses, however, it begins to have the opposite effect, even to the point of becoming life-threatening. While commercial dog foods take care to maintain safe levels of all vitamins and nutrients included within their mixtures, one unfortunate mishap involving the vitamin D levels of dog food brands in 2018 caused a recall at Kroger and other grocery chains. Kroger's Abound chicken and brown rice dog food, alongside multiple other brands, was recalled in December 2018 after potentially deadly amounts of vitamin D were found as a result of FDA testing. The brands were traced to the same manufacturer, Sunshine Mills Inc., and 6 dogs got sick as a result of the incident. Exactly how this nutritional defect was corrected is unclear, but the recipe was apparently fixed, as the products are safely available on store shelves today. Since fresh produce only lasts for a limited time, shoppers tend to pick it up pretty frequently. So if a dangerous bacteria is hiding out among the piles of greens at your local grocer, it has the potential to be a very serious problem, particularly if the issue affects multiple different products. In 2022, Kroger was hit with a listeria infestation among its ready-made produce selection that resulted in more than 20 products being recalled.
If you bought any veggies recently from Kroger, you want to double-check them.
This recall included a mushroom stir-fry blend, snacking peppers, asparagus sauté mix, diced red onions, 2 different types of salsa, layered bean dip, and a diced bell pepper and white onion packet, among many others. Despite the large number of items that were warned against, listeria was expected to affect only a handful of them, since just one sample that had undergone the testing actually ended up being positive. The problem is, you can't really tell which products are infected until it's too late. Chips and dip are probably the most convenient party foods you'll ever find, but if you're laying out a spread of salsa, hummus, or cheese dip that's contaminated with bacteria, then every single chip you dunk becomes a gamble with your health. Talk about a party pooper. And in 2020, Kroger pooped on all the parties when it issued a recall on a whopping 17 different popular cheese dips, including jalapeno Jarlsberg dip, a pimento cheese dip, and a smoked Gouda dip, to name a few. Why? Because the onions in all the products came from one location that had been hit by potential salmonella contamination. While this was necessary given the health risks involved, it was no doubt disappointing for everyone trying to plan the perfect living room rager. Still, we'd argue that a brief bout of sadness is better than a case of salmonella. Ground beef is a versatile ingredient in too many dishes to count, but like anything else, it can come with a downside. If the contents of a cow's intestines get onto the eaten part of the cow when it's being slaughtered, it could contaminate the beef with E. coli. And since most ground beef at the store is a combination of many different mooers, it's sometimes surprisingly hard to trace the contamination to its source. In 2008, Kroger found that many of its locations' meat departments were littered with infected packs. That recall was a particularly nasty one, with over 30 people in the states of Ohio and Michigan getting sick. One even went so far as to take legal action against the company as a result of their hospitalization. This is hardly the only instance in which the company has been forced to issue a recall for infected ground beef. In 2018, Kroger and other stores recalled millions of pounds of beef that had been potentially contaminated. But just remember that E. coli is destroyed by heat, so cooking your meat makes it safe. Bad news for everyone who takes their beef raw, good news for everyone else. Who doesn't have a bag of frozen chicken strips stashed away in their freezer for quick weeknight dinners? Chicken strips are a go-to for busy nights, and Tyson is perhaps one of the most well-recognized producers of the popular product. However, an incident in 2019 had many shoppers reaching into their freezers and tossing those bags right into the trash. Why? Chunks of metal. That's right, 32 retailers, including Kroger locations in 6 states, were forced to recall 11 million pounds worth of frozen Tyson chicken strips after multiple consumers reported that they'd found small metal fragments inside the meat.
Definitely something you don't want in your chicken.
And since folks generally found these metal chunks by biting into a chicken strip, at least 3 people reported oral injuries. The massive recall covered dozens of states and international locations alike. And apparently, that's not the only time it happened. In November 2023, Tyson also recalled 30,000 pounds of their Fun Nuggets for the same reason.
Some customers said they found small pieces of metal inside the dinosaur-shaped chicken patties.
Spinach is an incredibly nutritious vegetable that's chock full of antioxidants, potassium, vitamin K, iron, and more. But if that bag of beautiful leaves you picked up from the store makes you sick with listeria, you aren't going to care how healthy it is. In 2021, Kroger's 10-ounce packs of spinach sold in 15 different states found themselves under suspicion for listeria and were immediately put on recall. Though it appears no one fell sick before the product was pulled off the shelves, the fact that it's relatively common for harmful bacteria to be present on spinach is off-putting, to say the least. Listeria is another bacteria that's destroyed by high heat, aka cooking it, but the fact that spinach is often eaten raw in salads and wraps makes this especially insidious. It's an unfortunate reality. Sometimes, in order to alert companies to the fact that there's a recall-worthy health risk involving a product, citizens must first become sick. That's exactly what happened in 2012, when a far-reaching outbreak of salmonella led to more than 470 reported cases across 43 states, including 6 deaths. At first, the source of the ever-spreading illness appeared to be a mystery, but the FDA pinned it on peanut butter produced by the company Sunland Inc. The product was immediately pulled from the aisles where it was sold, but in the days that followed, the recall extended to whole nuts, as the true source of the outbreak was revealed to be peanuts from a manufacturer that had provided the peanuts for many other companies like General Mills, Kellogg's, and others. Since potentially infected peanuts had made their way into so many products from different brand names, a massive food pullback unfolded across U.S. grocers, Kroger included. Quaker Oats has become a household name, with its products gracing the aisles of what feels like every grocery store in the United States. From oats and cereal to granola bars and rice cakes, Quaker's breakfast and snack products are plentiful, which becomes a problem when they might be harboring salmonella.
These are no ordinary oats.
In December 2023, word came down from the Quaker Oats Company. A number of its granola bar and cereal products were potentially carrying salmonella. Although this recall was incredibly wide-reaching and stretched across all 50 states, it only affected 3 products sold at Kroger: Quaker Valentine Minis, Quaker Reduced Sugar Chocolate Chip Granola Bars, and Quaker Chewy Dips Chocolate Chip. Incredibly, reports seem to suggest that no one actually fell ill during the unfolding of this wide-scale callback, but we're sure it was a sad day for Quaker fans everywhere.